My name's Jay and this is Mark. Mark is an ex-IELTS speaking examiner. He's a hard guy to impress if you're giving a speaking exam. In this lesson, we're going to learn what to say to impress Mark, no matter what English test you're taking, IELTS, PT, OET, or even just one at school or university. When most people think about impressive vocab, they think about using long, fancy words like surreptitiously or plethora or supercilious, but these words don't impress examiners like Mark.
That's right. If you want to impress your speaking examiner, then you need to use collocations, powerful phrases. Collocations are natural sounding 1, 2, or 3 word phrases that just sound right. For example, in English, you throw a party, make noise, and have a good time. You probably say something quite different in your first language.
There are different combinations of collocations, like adverb and adjective, like deeply concerned. You'd never say deeply happy though. Adjective and noun like heavy traffic. You'd never say big traffic. Noun and noun like a gap in the traffic, not a hole in the traffic. Verb and noun like hit the accelerator, not push the accelerator. Noun and verb like the engine roared, not the engine screamed. And verb and preposition like surprised by. You can't say surprised with. Verb and adverb like drive erratically, not drive weirdly. For example, if Mark asked me to speak about traffic, I would say something like this. Yesterday, I was deeply concerned about being late for work because of the heavy traffic. When I was driving, I saw a gap in the traffic and hit the accelerator. The engine roared. I was surprised by my behavior. I don't usually drive so erratically. So what do you think, Mark? You impressed yet?
Well, I'm impressed by your use of collocations. When you use them, I know that you're not just translating from your first language into English. You're actually using real English.
If you want to learn real English, then you should check out e2english.com. You can sign up for free and take the placement test to see how good your English is. It'll test your listening, reading, writing, vocabulary, and speaking skills.
All right, so we've talked about vocab. Now let's talk about grammar. When you're doing your speaking test, you should not be thinking about grammar. Hopefully, the grammar comes to you automatically. But when you're preparing for your English test, you should be focusing on verbs. Verbs are the most important part of English grammar. There's a verb in practically every sentence, and they control the meaning a lot.
There are lots of different verbs in English, but when speaking, we only really use 4 of them. We very rarely, if ever, use the others. We use present simple verbs all the time, such as I work in the city. We use a lot of past simple verbs, such as I worked in the city yesterday. We often use present continuous when speaking, like I am working in the city at the moment. And we use the present continuous to also talk about the future, like I'm working in the city next week. And quite often we use the present perfect, like I have worked in the city before, but I didn't like it. So concentrate on practicing these 4 verbs. You don't really need to worry about the rest. Isn't that right, Mark?
That's right. But be careful if I ask you a question about the future, because you might need to use will or going to, as in I'm going to work in the city tomorrow, or sometime in the future. Let's talk about pronunciation. Most people think that pronunciation is just the way you say the 44 sounds of English. P, d, m, gr. But the sounds are only part of pronunciation and your speaking score. There are other parts, arguably more important parts, and there's one part in particular that you can use that will impress your examiner and boost your speaking score. I'm talking about word emphasis. Imagine I asked Jay to talk about a recent holiday he went on. Listen to the way Jay emphasizes certain words to create more meaning.
So I went on a holiday last September. My family and I visited a friend of mine who lives on the coast. It was great fun. Every day we swam in the ocean and we even went fishing. What I've done here is create more meaning by emphasizing important words. This is easy to do, and it's something you should do in your speaking test to boost your scores. What do you think, Mark? You impressed?
Great. That really improved your pronunciation. I'm glad that it wasn't just flat, like I went on a holiday with my family. And I also heard you use a lot of great collocations as well. Those natural phrases and simple past verbs, your score is going up.
All right, let's talk about structure. There are two types of speaking questions in any English exam. The first type of questions are conversational questions, where you discuss something with the examiner going back and forth. And the second type of questions are individual response questions, where you have time to plan and respond to something on your own.
That's right. In OET, there are only conversations. In IELTS, there are both types of questions. For example, in Part 1 and Part 3, you converse with the examiner. And in Part 2, you plan and then speak on your own. In PTE, you just speak on your own by retelling lectures and describing images and other tasks. It's the same for TOEFL and CELPIP. Now, if you're conversing with the examiner, you don't really have time to plan your structure because they happen in real time. But you can take a few seconds after the examiner has asked you a question to think by saying something like, or I guess, I suppose, or well. You can even take a few seconds just to think quickly. These are natural ways to just buy a few seconds to think about your answer. But what about the individual response questions, Jay?
Well, with the individual response questions where you speak on your own, you often have time to plan. In the planning time, you should think of 2 or 3 categories, 2 or 3 different things, 2 or 3 experiences, or even 2 or 3 times. For example, in IELTS Speaking Part 2, you might be asked to talk about something like a gift from a friend, or a website, or a time you got angry, and you have 1 minute to prepare. The best way to plan and structure these types of talks is to talk about the past, present, and future. For example, if you're asked to talk about a gift you received, talk about a gift you received when you're a child, a gift you received recently, and a gift you would like to receive in the future. This will create a natural structure for your talk.
Plus, if you speak about the past, present, and maybe even the future, you will naturally use all those verb tenses we talked about earlier. And I like hearing those key verb tenses. They really do good things for your score.
All right, let's discuss ways that you can build your confidence before test day and your courage on test day. I've taken the IELTS 5 times and I've taken PT and TOEFL as well, so I know what it's like to feel the pressure of a speaking test. Mark, what's the best way for speaking candidates to find courage on test day?
On test day, concentrate on me, the examiner. Talk to me. Listen to me. Don't pay attention to yourself. You have no idea what I'm going to ask you, so there's no point worrying about it. You almost have to let go and go with what the examiner says. Don't worry. IELTS examiners, we're all actually really kind. We're trying to give you the best score we can, and we do our best to make you feel comfortable. We want you to succeed as much as you do, but we have to score you according to the criteria. So listen intently to me and speak responsively to me and implement all of these tips we've just given you, including 1. Using great collocations. 2. Using key verb tenses. 3. Adding emphasis to specific words. And 4. Using categories when planning your talk. Finally, sit up straight, look me in the eye, and give your best attempt.
Fantastic. And leading up to test day, you can increase your confidence by preparing, by building your collocations, by improving your grammar, by focusing on word emphasis and practicing clever structures. If you're taking a test like IELTS, PT, OET, CELPIP, or TOEFL, then check out e2english.com and take our placement test. It's a great way to know if you have the skills for your test. It only takes 15 or 20 minutes, and then from there, you can check out our other skill building courses if you need them.
Awesome. My name is Mark, and thanks so much for watching, and we wish you the best of luck in your speaking test.
My name is Jay. Good luck.